So I'm going to show you 4 methods to sew boning simply. So here I will show you an example with plastic boning, but it obviously also works with metal boning. So example number 1. When it comes to a corset, for example, we need to place our boning at the seams. So here I am going to create a seam in the case where, for example, we have a lining, so we have a garment that is lined. So for example, you have a seam at the bust, which will be slightly curved. There you go. So here, I have roughly made a seam that can be found in corsets, which can be located at the bust or the sides. So these will be curved lines. There you go. So I recreated a curve like you might find on a corset. I did the same on the lining. The best thing is to press your seams to the side. There you go. If you have a lot of thickness, you can press the seams of the lining to the other side, in case you find it too thick. If it shows through transparency, then in that case, it's better to press all the seams to the same side. There you go. So now, what we're going to try to do ultimately to insert the boning is to create a tunnel, closed on both sides to be able to slide the boning in. Once you have properly aligned the 2 seams with each other, so they are directly facing one another, you can pin them, you can baste them, do as you prefer. You will make a first stitch here along the edge in the seam groove, and a second stitch generally 7 millimeters away, so that it leaves you enough space to insert your boning. So the first stitch here in the groove, and the second stitch here 7 millimeters from my edge. There you go. I'll show you what it looks like. And so in there, you will be able to slide your boning. So I cut my boning with a lighter. I invite you here to melt the plastic a little so that it doesn't fray and doesn't pierce your material. So I'm not going to do it here, but make sure to do it well every time. Slightly melt it using a lighter. Bring the flame a little closer and you'll see it will melt. But there you go, so that here it doesn't fray anymore and is well secured. So, quite simply, we are going to insert our boning into the tube we created. There you go, just like that. It's really quite simple. And there you have it, your first boned cut. Next, method number 2. It's almost the same as method number 1. You have your garment with a lining, so you have 2 layers, manfu, which greatly simplifies things. And this time, you want to insert boning in a straight line where there isn't necessarily a seam, but you still want to make it more rigid. So here, for example, I have a straight line. I would like to insert boning here. Well, you will do exactly the same thing as here, except you don't need to create a seam. You will just make 2 stitches side by side and slide your boning in. So I'll show you. There you go. So I've made my 2 side by side stitches with a straight stitch. So as you can see, it's very simple, and I will now be able to insert my boning here. Really, there's nothing easier, except you need consistency so that your stitching looks nice and aesthetic. There you go. Well, here, it's sticking out, but it doesn't matter. It's for the demonstration. And so you've added 1 more piece of boning. Really, nothing could be simpler. Third technique now. Let's say you have a garment you want to add boning to, but it doesn't have a lining, like, for example, I often do in lingerie. The method, one of the simplest methods, involves using, well, a ribbon. Generally, these are suitable ribbons that are lined to allow boning to be slipped inside. Here, I feel like it's a simple ribbon, but it works too. So obviously, you will position it and stitch it on both sides, where you want to place your boning. There you go. So I've sewn my satin ribbon. Generally, it's better to use the same color as your fabric. This will be a little less visible through transparency, and I will simply be able to insert. In fact, the goal is simply to create a tube to insert the boning. Make sure, of course, that you have enough space to insert and slide your boning. Otherwise, like me, you might struggle a bit. Obviously, you need to ensure there are no gathers, that it's well tensioned. Now, method number 4 for sewing boning, but in truth, there are many others. You just need to use a bit of imagination. What I mean is that here, for example, you don't have a lining, you have a straight line. You can very well fold your fabric in double. Here, make a straight stitch, which will create a sort of fold. Then fold your fabric again, lay the fold flat, make another stitch here at 8 millimeters and insert your boning. So obviously all this needs to be thought out and considered before creating your garments to do what's necessary for all the seam allowances, but it's yet another idea. There are really plenty of ideas. Well, you have a garment here with a cut, there's no lining, and you also don't have a satin ribbon to slide. We will create a cut and do what is called a flat felled seam. So, in a previous video, I had already shown you how to make a flat felled seam, but I will show you again. Here you will sew your two pieces offset. So instead of aligning them edge to edge, you will offset them by 1 centimeter. There you go. And here you will sew about 7 millimeters from the edge. There you go. I'll show you up close what it looks like. You have offset your two seams by 1 centimeter, and you will sew here 7 millimeters from this edge. There you go. You will be able to fold over the part that extends, which is larger, onto the seam that is smaller. So this is a seam that you find in quite a few garments like jeans, for example, because it's a seam that looks neat both on the outside and the inside of your garment. And then you will press it to one side. And so once it is well folded over and you have pressed it properly, you can pin it, of course, and sew here 1 millimeter from the edge to close your seam. And there you go. So after pressing, I won't do it here, but you have your seam folded over, and you can simply slide your boning in once more and insert it inside. Too easy? Girls, too easy. So there you have it. I've shown you plenty of methods for sewing boning. You have no more excuses. You have 4 fairly easy techniques for sewing boning.